Ladies and gentlemen, we are 34 days away from opening throw in opening round against the Saints, and then less than a couple of weeks before we see the State of Origin, and then we got the game in Bundoora, and then the game in Ballarat against North. It's time to talk all things black and white. Ladies and gentlemen, the Pies Presser is proudly sponsored by TSNL Neon, Melbourne's trusted signing specialist. For more information, Melbourne's trusted signing specialist for commercial LED neon signage. For more information, the link is in the description. It's tslsigns.com, family owned, family operated. They service all of Victoria. Did I say that? Gosh, what a start. How are we all doing, guys? I hope we're all doing super well. Welcome to the stream tonight. As we do early in the season, really for the most part of the season, the floor is to you guys with these streams. Whatever questions you want to put forward. Matthew, I saw your message in Discord regarding Mason Cox and how I think you sarcastically, tongue-in-cheek, were implying that Collingwood should have kept him to have a backup recognised ruckman, and pointing to the Fremantle situation where they brought in Mason Cox to cover the likes of Sean Darcy and Luke Jackson if there happens to be a mishap. And you could certainly paint it that way. Some people would. How I would oppose your argument in an open forum, whereas Discord is not a lot of. It's hard to go with the back and forth there, but to talk about, or to oppose the idea that we should have kept Mason Cox, well, I would say we've got Oscar Steen, who will be a great beneficiary of the new implementation of the ruck rule changes pertaining to the centre bounce in particular, or the centre throw. I don't know if they're going to call it centre throw or centre bounce. I would almost say just keep it to bloody centre bounce, but and still throw it up, of course. But I think his leap and seeing that at training and seeing Oscar Steen compete really well with DC in these engagements when it comes to the centre bounce. Whereas, yes, okay, around stoppages could be a liability at times, but I think what will surprise people is how well Oscar Steen competes around the ground, in the air, in the forward line. And last season, I would say we were in a point where we were absolute chips down, right? If it doesn't work out, winning a flag, then we must make or hedge our bets in 2026. And I think the Oscar Steen route is some way of hedging our bets. So yes, it may not work out, but fuck, we have to find out. We can't just keep these guys under wraps in the VFL for eternity. Charlie Dean was good at training, suggests Matthew. I'll tell you, mate, being at a lot of training last season as well, I can't tell you Charlie Dean was, can't ever say a hand on heart, Charlie Dean was super impressive. Whereas Oscar Steen he genuinely as a ruckman has some X factor. Whether that is displayed at AFL level, whether that comes to fruition, that's another question, but the talent is there. The talent is certainly there with someone like Oscar Steen, which is just one of the players you have to open the doors for this season and give him an opportunity. That's my thoughts. What do you guys think, chat? It will just be called a ruck contest, says Joshy. Gee whiz, that's got to go in my mouth, hey? Has to go in my mouth. Talking about the youngsters with the new VFL acquisitions, if you guys have see the video regarding some of the younger players that are coming from other AFL clubs with AFL experience, players like Eddie Ford, Will Phillips, Bryn Teakle, Zyma Lane from the Gold Coast Academy is another one, really exciting. Charlie McCartan, like all these players in the video, is basically just to surmise it. I said, these guys are just going to add to the foundation in the VFL and help propel the younger players who are AFL listed to really fight for their spots and push them into the first team. You get my point though, yeah? Steen is 100%, and I agree with you. Steen is untried. That's the risk. But we have to accept some risk with some of the youngsters. If DC, knock on wood, DC is injured, or if we go for the ruck tandem in Steen and DC, if it doesn't work out, then we're going to have to be a bit more flexible in the way we deploy our ruck game. But the point is in your senses that Steen is untried, and he needs to be tried and tested by the time we finish this season. Josh, only reason Freo got Mason was they lost Liam Reedy to Carlton with only 3 games experience, so their backup in previous had no experience. Yeah. So really, what's the pecking order? It's DC, it's Oscar Steen. Maybe if that doesn't work out leading into the mid-season, maybe DC can operate on his own, maybe he can't. But say both DC and Steen in tandem don't work, and DC on his own doesn't work, you could bring in Bryn Teakle in the mid-season draft. I know it's not ideal. That would be the absolute worst case. I don't think Big Roo is going to play much ruck. He does do a bit of training in the ruck department, but he is really being trained as a key defender. Outside of that, you're probably looking at a DC, McStay, Billy Frampton type thing. Anthony, here's a survey for you. Who would you rather on list in 2026 going into the finals? Mason Cox or Lockie Sullivan? All right, we'll do it. We'll do it. Who would you prefer? So, we're past the... Nah. Matthew, I do, but I feel like we're past this conversation, though, in the way, it's the 2nd of Feb 2026. Sullivan's on a list, Mason Cox isn't. Again, you could probably make a case for both of them. I think Sullivan's a little more versatile and has a bit more time on his side. So I would put the survey, but I think we're a couple months past it. That's all. Joe, how you going? They got Mason Cox because Jackson will be playing as a midfielder. So there's that as well. There's that as well when it comes to the acquisition of Mason to the Dockers. So have we seen this, guys? Talks of the Australian Open wanting to use the club's facilities on Olympic Boulevard. The Australian Open is an outstanding major event for our city, and Collingwood Football Club is open to exploring opportunities for the world-class tournament to expand across the precinct. With the KGM Centre our full-time home, any plans would need to be carefully considered. Impacts on our elite high-performance programs, while maintaining access for Collingwood members and supporters. We have a strong working relationship with Craig Tiley and his team at Tennis Australia, John Harnan and his team at Melbourne Park and the state government, and any proposal would be progressed collaboratively with all key stakeholders. Is that just a bit of a case of show me the money with how Craig has painted this? We're happy to, in some way, to accommodate the Australian Open athletes for years to come. However, that comes with a price, so maybe that's what that is. Come on, do the survey. All right, Matthew, we'll do the survey. We will do the survey. So the question is, who would have you preferred? If I cast my mind back to the times where we were umming and ahhing about the list, who would have you preferred to keep on the list in 2026? I think I remember I would have preferred Mason Cox, but they opt for the youthfulness in Lockie Sullivan. That's what they ended up doing, really. Who would have you preferred to keep on the list in 2026? Mason Cox, Lockie Sullivan. I think it's a bit of a much of a muchness in some ways. Still think Sully is important as Shooter does get injured. Well, that's that. Matthew, think about it now, right? Maybe Collingwood are playing chess, not checkers here. Let me present you with this thought. Maybe the Pies know that Bobby, maybe they were like, all right, well, we don't know what the future is, whether it's with or without Bobby Hill. Let's keep Lockie Sullivan because he can occupy a pressure forward role. Harvey Harrison, is he going to be able to stay healthy? Jamie Elliott, is he going to be able to stay healthy? So rather than keeping someone who could be replaced by a Jack Buller, Charlie West, who's the other one that we've got in the forward line? Jack Buller, Charlie West. Why am I missing someone that's a key forward in my mind? Am I missing someone or am I not missing someone? Anyhow, you got players who can replace Mason Cox, in my opinion. But to cover what could be a shortfall in small forwards, I think Lockie Sullivan can fulfill that role in some way. Despite primarily being a midfielder, he's been asked to train as a forward and play as a forward in the VFL to accommodate that. Noah House, thank you, Joshy. You're the man. So I think Collingwood maybe just playing with the youthfulness of Lockie Sullivan and the idea that the small forward bracket, there's a bit too much of the unknown in it. Benny, here he is. Better late than never. Appreciate you. What were we just talking about? Matthew wanted to talk about whether we should have kept Lockie Sullivan or Mason Cox on the list. We went through a few avenues. Tongue twister. This comes down to all this player management last year, resting players. How did Steen not get 2 or 3 games last year? Then I'd have no issues with them letting go of Mason. I think, mate, like Matthew, to be honest, I think a preseason another preseason under his belt, putting on a couple more extra kgs in the off season / preseason, makes a big difference. So I don't know if you want to exit in a year where the chips were absolutely well and truly down. I don't think they wanted to risk throwing Oscar Steen to the Wolves. Whereas now we're hedging our bets a little more as a club with the direction we're looking at potentially. I think we can accept playing Oscar Steen now. And that's just that really. Hey, there's a familiar face. It's Zaza. What's going on? Zaza. Stranger. Tennis and cricket's done. You had to come in real quick, huh? Welcome back. Steen was so close last year. And that's a point we failed to mention. Steen was so close last year. He was emergency in numerous games. And in the end, Mason played all right in the finals, didn't he, Matthew? So would have you played Oscar Steen considering that? So that's my question. Steen was edging getting into the side half the season, yeah. And he had some big VFL games. I think, like I said, now's the time to really release him, so to speak. But it's 60-40 Sullivan in the poll so far, 60-40. So, I mean, like I said, it's almost a bit of a muchness in a way. I might even jump, if anybody wants to have a quick yarn on the Discords, I can get you on the show. I'll jump into the channel, the Discord channel, if you want to have a chat. Jump in. You've been anti-internet. Is that because, are you like my brother where after the prelim you just dissociate yourself with the AFL world until we get close enough to the season that all we need to think about now is the Pies in 2026? Is that what that is? I need to log in. 1 second. Discord. Let me just log into Discord. I just need to use my phone for this one. Scan a QR code. Log in. Never scan. Yeah, okay. No worries. Check in your phone. Log in. Yes. Start talking. Okay. All right. So if anybody wants, like I said, if anybody wants to jump into the Discord, more than welcome to come have a chitty chat. Let's go here. Where is it? There we go. Allow. Okay, isn't it? The is just loading up the the fan on. sometimes when it gets a bit hot, even though it's not super hot right now, it gets a bit shaky, but hopefully that will slowly improve it. It might take a minute or two. So we'll see how that goes. What else is on our mind, ladies and gents? What else have we got? What do we want to talk about? Discord, make sure that's actually connected. Is that there? Close that. A little of that. Yeah, look, I'll be honest, Teresa. I think 3 weeks ago I said, you know what, like I'm just gonna get off. The only thing I use Twitter for is genuinely for AFL news. Whereas before a few weeks ago I'd be well tapped into the worldwide news of that is on the face of the internet, anything that comes to politics and all that sort of stuff. I have just closed the book on that because I mean, call it surrendering or whatever it may be. I just feel like sometimes you put your head in this rabbit hole and you, within 5 minutes of scrolling and looking at the news online, you're angry, you're upset, and you're extremely bothered. And I don't want to feel that way, especially if there's, you almost feel like you can't do anything anyways. Like your hands are tied. We're at the volition of the government. So that's why I just sort of worry about what's in my own backyard, so to speak. Is the stream recovering, guys? Have we recovered? Tell me. Talk to me. Can I reset this? Discord sound. I don't know if it's going to let me. Matthew, can you talk for a sec, please? Yep. Give me 1 sec. My stream system is not registering the Discord audio. Give me 1 sec, okay? Come on. My OBS is being extremely annoying. I might not be able to get Matthew on this one. The screen is good now, but unfortunately, when I tried to get the audio going, OBS is just being a prick. If I close this, I'm going to close this really quickly and I'm going to reopen a stream. Just bear with me, guys. I apologize. Give me 1 sec. Here we go. Got it. Beauty. We're here. Matthew.
Yeah.
All right, we got you. Talk to me. What have you got for us?
I got an echo.
Do you have AirPods? Or maybe I need my AirPods. Sometimes when this happens, it rains at pause. What if I do this? Go for a second.
Hello.
Is that better?
Nah, I'm hearing myself. I've got YouTube turned off.
Okay. Let me see if I got my AirPods. Give me 1 second, okay?
All right.
Love a little technical difficulty. Connect here. Hopefully this works. Stewie, how you going, mate? Today might not be the day. Nah, Matthew, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to... it's not going to work this stream, man. I'm so sorry. I mean, if you can deal with the echo...
Oh, good.
Can you work with the echo or not really?
I'll try.
All right.
Why don't you do a StreamYard link?
Yeah, I'd have to close this stream and reset everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try and put up with it.
That's all right. What have you?
You do all the talking.
Yep. So we spoke about Sully and Mason Cox and all that. What have you got for me in 2026? Is there anything on top of your mind that you want to talk about?
I'll tell you, I'm really happy with off season, but we really needed to get a key defender, because we were on mixed stream the other night, and I said the third most important person on our list is Billy Frampton.
Yep.
After Cameron and Dacos, because if Billy Frampton goes down, we're in trouble.
This is very true, man. And that's something we just haven't addressed. And the young and budding up and coming defenders aren't, while some of them might be key height, they're not key size. Like Joel Cochran isn't key size. Someone who we thought was training as a key defender, Noah Howes, is now not doing that. He's training solely as a forward. So outside of Darcy Moore, Jeremy Howe, and Billy Frampton, a delisted Charlie Dean, there's not a lot of flexibility there. And McStay, who's been in the rehab group, isn't training as a defender. So while that might, like, knock on wood, Billy Frampton goes down, we might have to be incredibly flexible and look at those options. I think the other option, which might not stand the test of a finals game, is playing a bit shorter. And we did that. You have to admit, there were many games where we didn't have a Darcy Moore or anything. Didn't have a Darcy Moore in a game or a Billy Frampton in a game, or we missed Jeremy Howe. I think those games we won most of them, if not all of them.
Yeah, Praz can play tall too.
I mean, he can play tall. Then again, he struggled, against the likes of Jeremy Howe and whatnot. Cam Rayner in that final. Jeremy Howe struggled against Cam Rayner in that final.
I'm just really hopeful one of Reef or Cochran can stand up, and especially Cochran, because he's a good size.
Yep. Reef is the one we tend to forget, and from the sessions I've seen, from the sessions I've seen so far, Reef is yet to be fully integrated. I know he's not on the injury timeline list, but I'm conscious of how we approached Harvey Harrison and his return to play. It's been nearly 18 months. Like, he did it in August 2024. Reef only did his ACL, let's say, 11 months ago now. Are we going to get him in at the start, as close to the start of the season, or are we realistically looking at mid-season?
For Harrison?
No, Reef. I'm not worried about Harrison.
Reef.
I'm thinking Reef.
It all depends on injuries. I think you might be forced to, because you've got, like, Moore's done a calf that could be 5 weeks, so he's very doubtful for opening round.
Yep.
So let's say we don't have Moore. Who are we looking at? Billy Frampton.
Yep.
Howe, and Howe's injured as well. So let's be hopeful and assume that Howe can play.
Yeah. You've
got Frampton, Howe, and you'd like to have one more, wouldn't you?
Well, I can assure you that as much as I want Joel Cochran to break out this year, he's not ready to be thrown in opening round.
Not at the start.
No.
It might be halfway through the year till he gets a go.
Yeah. So there's that.
But who's to say there might not be a bolter? We've got these 2 practice games. Imagine if Cochran plays 2 blinders, he might get the job opening round. Why not? I'm really looking forward to these practice games, because if Steen comes out and plays and does really well, I'll feel a lot more comfortable about a backup ruck.
Yeah. Yeah, well, maybe that will be a big. I think that will be a big test. And it'll be a big test for a lot of those players who have been knocking on the doors for the last 12 to 24 months in the preseason games. I think we're all going to have, like, we can only assume that some of the elder statesmen in the club are only going to play one of two of those practice matches, and it's probably going to be the game against North, I would say, the official one, so to speak. And then that GWS game on the 20th of Feb, I could imagine similar to last year with the Suns and the Lions. I think we might bring in quite an extended team and really have a good look at some of these players who have only played a handful of games at AFL level.
Yeah, I was like I said, I was on Mixed Stream the other night, Friday night, I think it was, and he picked a side. We sort of helped him pick a side, and the depth was just amazing. Like the players who weren't playing in his side. So I'd be happy to see like an A and a B team almost over these next games. Like just play one team, give them a rest, and then give the team B a go.
That's
so
probably
much
what will
depth.
happen.
We're just lacking depth in certain places. We've got a lot of depth in certain areas. We're just lacking that depth in the ruck and key defence.
You know what? Here's another poll, Matthew. We'll put it out there, and I'll give you guys the information that I haven't seen Reef in 2 big sessions at preseason training. Reef has not done the match simulation portion, which is incredibly integral to being cherry ripe for opening round. Do you think Reef will play in the first 3 games of the season? Let's say that. Yes or no? Has not done match sim last 2 weeks. That's the information I can give you. I'm not sure if you guys have seen in the chat Reef train in full capacity in Swoops videos, but from what I've seen on a Friday and in a match sim, I haven't seen him there. Like he does bits and pieces, and then he'll be on the sidelines doing some extra running while the lads are doing their full match sim. What do you think?
It might be too much of a risk.
Oh. Yeah. By the way, I've got some fresh AirPods coming on the way, but is the echo still there?
It's just improved actually.
As since when?
In the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, okay. I fixed it. I changed the input device. Hey, I'm gonna get Boomer in. We'll get Boomer in, okay?
Cool.
Boomer, Happy New Year, brother.
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Very well. How are you?
I'm pretty good, mate. I've had some surgery over the whole off season, so hopefully I'm back and nice and cheery for the upcoming season. What about you, fuckers?
We've been missing you, mate. That's for sure. It's good to hear you're on the mend and you're having a big pre-season.
Dude, I get off the internet. I find it to be a little bit of a toxic cesspit. Like, we all talk Collingwood, and we're all cool, but all the other dudes on Discord, mate, they just want to have a fucking fight, and they're not very bright. You know, at least a decent fight about football is good fun. Yeah, but no, I enjoy sort of having a break and watching the cricket. But you're a soccer fan, so fuck you.
Hey, I watched the 2020.
No arms.
I got around the Big Bash.
Oh, did you?
I did.
I've been getting into the tennis. Tennis was awesome.
The tennis was good as well. Boomer, did you get around to tennis?
Yeah. Oh, I can't do tennis. All this grunting and groaning. It's really fucking weird. It sounds like a fucking cheap porn movie. Yeah. And you look up and think, fuck, is that tennis? Or is me missus watching tennis, or is she fucking giving me the ass? You don't know.
Yeah, the women's is unwatchable. The women's is unwatchable because of that.
Oh, look, this bullshit about them all grunting. Some of them do grunt, and like, you know, when you fucking lay into the ball, but this business of going, you, all the way, you're trying to put the opposition off. You know what I mean? And someone got a penalty the other night, didn't they?
You know who's to blame? It's that Sharapova. She started doing it, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, and now they've all copied her ever since, and it's just so exaggerated and put on. Anyway, I didn't want to
and you
get us
never
started on
saw
the
fucking
topic of
Bjorn Boyd
tennis.
or Agassi fucking doing it, did you?
I digress,
That's the
Boomer.
funny thing.
I digress. Hey, look, Sharapova, that was an iconic grunt. But yeah, never forget. By the way, Jen, according to Josh in the chat, we are doing an intra-club match on the 13th of February from 4 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. So pencil that one in. What's the 13th of Feb? Is that a Friday? Give me 1 second, guys. 13th of Feb is indeed a Friday. So next Friday, there is an intra-club. So hopefully that's, 4 quarters or 6 quarters or maybe a few thirds. That will be our first look in going into the preseason on the preseason match against GWS.
So blacks versus whites.
Yes. Blacks versus whites. So players looking to impress on the top of my mind are players like Reef, Oscar. I think Harvey Harrison has quietly been a standout throughout the period of the preseason. I think he just what I look for at training and in games, just their demeanor and Harvey exudes like just this like temperance about him. He's so calm and he has the physical prowess to go with it, and he's pretty decent by foot as well. I don't know what his ceiling is. There's so many people here that would that have Harvey Harrison highly rated. I rate him. I don't know how high you can possibly rate him off the back of half a season. What do you guys think, Boomer?
Well, I'm reckoning you go and you guys love to. And look, all respect to you for bringing it up, but in my opinion, most people within this server tend to really put a shitload of responsibility on the young guys to be Mr. Fix-It to a problem. I mean, let's look down at our basics and go back one. Guys like Jack Crisp, we can get another year out of him the way he did last year, but this time spread it across or he plays the better half of the year later. And guys like, look, Manny saying we need a gun midfielder. Sure, Manny, we'd all have a gun midfielder. What about Nick Dacos? Is that more of a fucking gun midfielder than anyone in the fucking league would want? So I think what we're going to look at this year is getting the good productivity out of our good players. And here's my fucking thing. De Goey on the half-forward flank and still side bottom on the other, with them roving downfield, not field, kind of like opposite each other, going deeper and shallower. And that way those two are half-forward flank sneaks. That throws Josh Dacos and the Dakes boys through the midfield, and the Dacos combination is what will win us games. DC's out, and we haven't got Mason Cox to fall onto, so Steenie gets a run now. That'll be good. So I'm wanting our season players to come up and act like season players, because Sidey and Pendles play like it's your last season, because it probably is. And that's my rant. What do you think?
Matthew?
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. And what I'd like to add is you're talking about Sullivan. See, rather than putting Sullivan in a pocket, I'd rather give games to have Sidey or Geordie in a pocket or a flank. And we can't fit all the midfielders in. So if you're going to give a game to someone who's playing well in the seconds, if Prindable or Anderson are playing well, then why can't we have them on a half-forward flank? I reckon they could both play down there. So at least they're getting a game.
Yeah, but depending on how the game's shrivelling in on itself, Sidey might be towards the wing, in which case De Goey's deeper, more to goal side.
Yep.
And when it's the opposite, when De Goey's over towards the wing, Steelo's goal side. That way, depending on the left and right foot combo, that's going to give the shits to whoever's trying to pick up Billy Elliott. Because, if you fuck up and you don't beat Billy Elliott, there's potentially Sidey or De Goey there to fucking crush you. And I think we do that. And, that's the other thing, though, is our emphasis on these young guys coming in. Dude, we fucked up a lot of players by not giving them good runs. I reckon young guys need to be just, go out and fucking sow your seeds, man. Fuck up if you fuck up and bad luck. You know what I mean? We're not going to drop you. And a good game out of Darcy Moore. I'd love to see Darcy Moore just get some really good, consistent form up. And I think that's half the key to us winning a flag this year.
I just want to, so I think Geordie and Sidey in a rotating capacity is good. I think Sidey as that wingman who can play offensively and defensively, and so many times, how many times do we see side bottom in a game roll back as that defensive winger and just put on just like some massive courageous acts where he puts his body on the line, he opens up his rib cage, and he'll eat anything that comes his way and still clear the ball with a fist or an intercepting mark or whatever it may be. So I do like the rotating idea. And Matthew, I like the idea. It's sexy and attractive. If Prindable and Anderson are performing at VFL level, I think those players should get a look in. But I think there are a couple other players that we also need to find out about. But Prindable is he's starting at a level past certain players who are a little bit older than him that we've seen come through the draft in recent years. So whether that plays a factor and he gets into the team off the back of the fact that he's got VFL finals experience under his belt, he's got composure. I've talked about that so much, and I'm going to continue to rinse that because composure is everything. I think there is a world where I can't speak to Anderson too much because I haven't seen enough yet, but I probably haven't seen enough of Prindable yet either. But what I've seen, I go, man, you just see something different in him.
It looked as though from the training videos that for a young bloke, he's very solid. He looks to be very well built.
Mm-hmm. Yep, that's true in person as well.
Okay, so that's we've done real as much as I would have liked to have got a key defender. I couldn't be happier with the recruits we got.
Yeah.
In the draft and guys like Buller.
Yeah. So can I say Josh has mentioned in the chat, Jeremy Howe said we are making major changes to how we move the ball next year. We'll emulate Lions more. He said, great to hear, as we are way too slow and wide last year. So I'll start with what we saw in 22 and 23 was that, that slingshot play, and Brisbane mastered it to a T this year. I think on top of that, though, the extra layer is going to be I think we're going to see us the kick to handball ratio favor the handballing side more than the kicking this season, and that's been put on display at training as well. With the specific drills and working the ball into the forward 50 by hands, and like there's drills where you're not even allowed to kick the ball until you're kicking at goals in the forward 50 in some of these drills. So I think you're going to see that, and you're going to see us try dissect the field a bit quicker off halfback. Whereas I think a lot of our score came from turnover in the forward half, thanks to Lockie Schultz, thanks to Beau McCreary, and also playing conservatively like Mick Malthouse style, like we did in 2010 in some ways.
Yeah, we were too stymied. We sort of fell away from that, turnover game. We need to get that turnover game. Turn it over in the back line and then just go and run in waves.
Looks like that's
who will really suit that game. You know who will really suit that type of game? We might not see him much this year, but that Sam Swadling, that sort of game would really suit him. Yep. He likes to run, and he's very unselfish. He likes to put people who are out in space. He's got these really long handballs. And notice from his highlight videos from the waffle, I reckon, and Ultimate Greatness is a big fan of his.
Yeah,
he reckons he's going to be a star.
Yeah, I'm always reluctant to dub someone a potential star. Out of we got Swadling, we've got Prindable, we've got McCarthy, we've got Saxoner, and we've got Prindable and Anderson, right? So that's 4 or 5. I forget the number, but I think you're probably going to see Prindable first if I had to put my money on it. This time last year, we're saying Will Hayes and Charlie West, and then Joel Cochran's a bit of a slow burner. I think Swadling. Yep. Could be somewhat of a slow burner, but has potential. McCarthy's definitely going to be more of he's got the talent. He's more than a project player, because I think a project player is a player you're not sure as to whether they're going to meet the demands. Where I think McCarthy will meet the demands, but I think he genuinely might need 3-4 years. Do like that Geelong VFL apprenticeship, like a Shannon Neal and the likes. Saxoner. Guys, I think Saxoner is very much so like Will Hayes, and if I remember Will Hayes' hype last year was warranted, and he got his games, but just because you're slick and you're what you're doing on the training field is impressive and eye-catching. I think like we have to remember these are small forwards who some thrive immediately, some show the signs at training, but to bring it to AFL level is a different conversation.
Lot of support for Swaddling in the chat.
Yeah, Teresa said, I watched Swaddling live. He's very, very good. So from what I watched of him, great runner, great connector by hands, and a lot of his national champs was on a wing, where he's predominantly an on-baller. So the numbers he was accumulating was even more impressive considering. Yeah, exactly. Even more impressive considering he was a winger. So look, he's one of those guys where it's just a matter of keeping an eye on him as we get into the match simulation side of things, the intra-club that we spoke about in a couple of weeks, then the GWS, then the North Melbourne, and then we just go from there. The VFL as well, of course. We'll be doing more content on the VFL again this year.
Can I just comment on TJ Nelson made a comment that Di Mattia and Ryan are the forgotten men, and what I want to say to that is we've got people like Ryan and like Di Mattia and Allen, players like this, and this is going to be good for them that we've now got all this depth, because that hopefully that'll make them lift and to try and claim a spot in the side, because they haven't yet, really, have they? So this competition for spots is going to be fierce, I think.
Yeah, it's good because these young kids are going to give these guys a kick up their ass. And then you got these delisted AFL players who are coming into the VFL side who have got a chip on their shoulder. And then there's pressure, there's this inevitable perceived pressure from the club. It's like, hey, you guys have been in this system for 2, 3, 4 years. We need to see something now. So those, maybe not so much Di Mattia because he came in at the end of 23, but certainly like a Jacob Ryan and Ed Allen. Di Mattia's like on the cusp of it. Reef has a bit of a grace period. Harvey Harrison has a bit of a grace period. But Di Mattia's been training as in the limited match him so far. He's been playing as a high half forward. He had a concussion on last week, unfortunately. Will Parker's someone who's been training really well, and I'd almost be willing to jump the gun and say he's going to be a starter for opening round. Whether he becomes a mainstay is another question, but I think he definitely deserves an opportunity to start an opening round.
Yeah, I really like Parker.
Yeah.
Well, opening round, we've got some pretty big injury issues, haven't we?
Yep.
Like, I think Bo's potentially questionable. That's going to unbolster our midfield. Backline, what have we got now? Moore, how fuck is IQ? That's a pretty substantial. I think it's half our fucking grand final back line.
Key back is an area of concern because we don't have a lot of depth there, Boomer. So,
well, the problem there, if Jeremy Howe has to come in and do everyone's job, we're just not going to get the year out of him. We're going to lose him for the last 2 months of the year. And that's when we need Jeremy Howe at his brilliant best. I'd almost manage him for the first few months.
Boomer,
first few
do you
weeks.
agree? Boomer, do you agree that Frampton is one of our most important players? Because if he goes down...
I heard you say that the other day. You and I are both on the same page, but I think when Frampton, even when he was rucking up half forward as a, as a defensive half, he starts striking in, but he's out of sorts. Give him the all the way back, and that takes the pressure off Darcy Moore, because Darcy Moore shits himself when it's close to goal. So if Frampton can be a good, solid pair of hands there, yes, I agree. He's probably our fourth most important player to stop to a goal stop. And he's good. You remember, he was the fourth player in order of our great recruit, our best recruiting this decade, which was Bobby Hill, Tom Mitchell, Dan McStay, and Billy Frampton. He was the last. Throw him on. That list is completely inverted now when you look at it in the order of importance of players. Isn't that bizarre? Because that was our best ever drafting for, I think, since Buckley, getting those four players. He got us a flag, in my opinion. So, I think Billy Frampton he's a magpie, and I'm so proud to say I'm glad we got him. We get players to do good shit, and he's one of them. So, agree, Matt. Yeah. Also, we've got to remember there's good old bros. Just him walking out there, everybody plays 2% better. Something about the Bruz factor. You just know he's going to have a crack. What about Buller? He seems to have a crack. I don't know. What do you think? Is he going to be a good one yeah?
I don't know if it was did you do a video at training where it was the forwards and the backs competing for the contested marks?
So the last
Was that
2 weeks, I've included the drill where they're just having genuine 101 mark is up contest in the pocket.
Yeah, the Buller, I tell you what, he's a bit clumsy, but he really has a crack.
Yeah.
And he just needs to tidy up his, it's January obviously, so he's going to improve on that. But he was getting to the right spots and protecting the drop zone really well.
Yeah. He's never. I don't think he's going to be the guy where it's, you're putting him on an island with the other team's best defender. But where Buller will thrive is his ability to run up and down the ground. I think his leading patterns are quite mature, we'll call it. And his voice is really positive. And like I said, the guy, more than anything, to be able to wear the black and white, you got to have this like element of grit. I want to say cunt about you. It's just something that I love about that word when it comes to people who he's just a mongrel. He just loves it at ground level. And Brody Myercheck, he is one of the best tackling pressure key forwards in the league. I think Jack Buller can follow suit.
Yep. And the other thing that I noticed in his highlight videos with the waffle is he was playing in the ruck. I don't know if he was second ruck or whatever, but he looked very good as a ruckman around the ground as well. So that might come in handy in the future too.
Haven't seen him do a lot of ruck work. The main ones are Rue, DC, and Steen. And then your fourth and fifth strings are your Bullers and your Framptons and McStay as well, who's probably he'll play before them.
I think you won't see him rucking, but he might take a few rucks in the forward line.
Yeah,
from time to time.
Yep, he's got Rick's got a good word for in lieu of the cunt word. He has the bruzzy in him. I like that. He's got the bruz.
Yeah, I like that too.
He has the front bottom.
Yeah, very good. You guys got anything else for me for the stream?
Well, yeah. Who's going to kick goals for us, guys? Who's going to kick goals for us this year? Because Bobby, what are we saying? Bobby, let's just put it down. If he plays one game, that's a bonus.
Yeah.
So, what do we think? Is Billy going to step up? I hope so.
I reckon Billy can kick 40 at least.
Wait. Say that again. What'd you say?
I said Billy can kick 40 goals this year.
For some reason, I thought I heard Membry for some reason. That's okay.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, what about Tim Membry? Is he going to kick us a few?
Membry will kick 30.
If Checkers and McStay are out, does that give Membry space to run into? Because last year, I would have preferred him to have marked the ball than McStay or
he's a good shot at goal
outside
as well.
Bobby. Yeah, outside Billy and Bobby. Tim Membry, it's like, oh, good, thank fuck it's him. He got us more than the others. So that's, I don't know. Membry's kind of, he got left out of...
I think he gives you 15 to 25. I think he gives you 15 to 25 this season, realistically.
Membry?
Yeah.
So...
Yep. Okay.
The others are those run-on goals from the forward flankers, the opportunity to run in the swampy, what do you call it, swarming goals.
I know,
and so Jack Crisps. And what about fucking my call? And I think you agree with this, Matthew. Darcy Moore stays in the one position all game. So if it's win side, he goes centre half forward. When we're kicking against, when it's outside, it's the win, he stays centre half back. So the team moves around him. He stays in the one square, just between the goal and the centre square, depending on forward or back and the direction of the wind. I'd love to see something like that. His old man was brilliant as a ruckman. Let's bring that out of Darcy Moore.
You know what? This is a bit left field on, but I was thinking about that. Someone mentioned, why don't they let Darcy Moore name him in the forward pocket, but he plays mostly as a loose man in defence, meaning he doesn't have to worry about a man at all, and he can run down the goal and be on the end of run down the ground from time to time and be on the end of a goal.
Who's this Darcy Moore?
Like, how good would Darcy Moore be if he was a loose man in defence?
I mean, that's predominantly the role he assumes when we're working cohesively as a team. Billy Frampton locks down, and then Darcy Moore does play freely. When Darcy Moore plays 1-on-1 against the likes of Larkey, Darcy, King, either of them, he struggles because he's not a 1-on-1 player. I've always fallen in love with...
He technically has a man, though. In that situation, he does have a man at the,
so you want him as a 7th defender?
I want him as he is. It means they got an extra man in their defence, and so do we. So we're backing that Darcy Moore will do more damage around the ground than us having one less forward.
It's submissive. I don't think we're a submissive team, man. We're really assertive. I think it sounds like we want to be
aggressive. Yeah. I see it as aggressive because it will help us build attacks from the back line.
Yeah, I don't know.
Or the other side is
never going to happen. It's a moot point.
Yeah.
Darcy can pick up the opposition's best back or forward line and then use them as a decoy and take them out to the wing. Thus, because if you've got Buddy Franklin taking marks out on the wing, he's not kicking goals. Not that he plays anymore, but you know what I mean?
Right.
So we use Darcy in that strategic capacity as opposed to this set, predictable back line that's starting to look a bit like Buckley's old game plan. I'm getting worried about that.
Well, Stu Peters makes a comment. He says, effectively, he's saying Darcy Moore is loose every game. I mean, he's loose. I agree. He's loose every game anyway. Let's just not give him a man.
Yeah, put it this way, dude. When it comes to checking opposition players, he's looser than fucking Grandpa's scrotum, and that's pretty fucking loose.
I think there's constant speculation about Moore playing other positions because we just totally shit ourselves when the ball goes anywhere near Darcy.
Yeah. Look, I'm hoping. You know what? I'm hoping
it's nerve-wracking.
I'm hoping there's vindication for Darcy Moore. He didn't have the worst season last year. Like, statistically, he was okay. He had a really bad stretch, and he had a really good stretch. And I think there is a good Darcy Moore in him. But the idea of him playing elsewhere positionally, I think that boat has well and truly sailed for better or worse. Woody says in the chat, who's a St Kilda supporter, and he's got his own channel, and he's frequently on Saints TV's YouTube channel. He says Darcy needs some help, but if you guys want to play finals, you should probably rest him for opening round. Keeping in mind he's a St Kilda supporter, so I don't think he has the best intentions for our team.
Yeah, they're saying he's playing a bit of ruck in match sim, but his old man was probably one of the best ruckmen. I think that's the thing about it, and to just think, well, there's got to be some genetics about it. Look at the Ablets and fucking Look at Ablets and Dacos. There is something in genetics, isn't there?
There is, yeah. Matt Rendell said if Darcy Moore played in the ruck, he'd win a Brownlow.
I think that was something I had when we really struggled in 24. Like, that was an idea I was infatuated with. But once again, like, we can talk about this, hypothesize about this, but is it really going to happen?
Well, it can't because we're just so lacking in key defenders. Like, unfortunately, if Billy Frampton was to go down, Moore's got to be a lockdown defender, which is terrifying.
Yeah.
But who else is going to do it?
Yeah.
So if we had more key defender depth, then you could flirt with Moore playing in the ruck or playing forward.
Yeah.
But we just can't afford to.
Yeah. All right.
Well, that's where Darcy seems to become the key defender in the latter part of games. So rucking on the back line and taking decent marks, which works, but I'd rather him be up forward and kicking and helping us kick goals in the midfield.
Now,
Boomer, I think we're losing you a little
bit. Can you hear me okay?
Sorry?
I can.
Can't you hear me?
Vaguely. Guys, what I am going to do, I'm going to leave it there. Dinner is calling. I appreciate you, Matthew and Boomer, for jumping on for the conversation.
Thanks, mate.
We'll talk soon, okay?
No worries, Ant. Okay, mate.
All right, see you, mate.
No.
See you, Boomer.
Go Pies.
Go Pies. That was a good conversation. I enjoyed that. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Pies will be different side without the oldies playing. It's an if, isn't it? I'd love a wing roll for a float back help defense float forward, kick a goal and play a bit of ruck. Basically, Yeah, it could be a blitz halves. I mean, we can talk about all the positions that we'd love to see Darcy Moore play. But again, is it going to happen? Anyways, guys, I appreciate you all being here tonight. Once again, there will be a stream next Monday, whether